Okay, we're going to start this. This is Pam from ROC Metaphysical. It's an online magazine that you can find at rocmetaphysical.com. It's free to go on. It's every month. There's new articles. Today we're going to be interviewing with one of our poetry contributors, Carolyn. You can go to the magazine at any time. It's free. And if you're a writer or have advertising, feel free to email me at rocmetaphysical@gmail.com. I'm the editor-in-chief. My name is Pam, and we're located in Rochester, New York. And today we're going to talk to Carolyn, who I think is in Northern California, if I'm right, and she's going to talk about her poetry and her background. So go ahead, Carolyn, talk a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm actually in the Central Coast. We're halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco, California. And you wanted me to talk about the poetry. Well, first of all, thank you for taking my poetry, because you were one of the first publications that actually was interested and took it, and that gave me the courage to go on to other places and submit.
Oh, I'm glad we could do that for you. I love poetry, so when it came, I was so happy, because it was difficult for me to try to find poetry that didn't have copyright limitations.
And for me, it's just important to put it out there, to try to put some positive messages out in the world, especially this year.
Yeah, especially. And so your background also is in Reiki, and we were kind of talking about that too, where working as you're doing Reiki, or just because you feel in touch with that energy that helps you with your poetry?
Yeah, I started my first Reiki class and my first writing class with the community college the same week. I guess that's a coincidence, maybe not a coincidence. And so they've grown together. It's been 4 years for both of them. I had not written poetry before 2 years ago, or read poetry, except for an occasional poem here or there. And it came really quickly, and I started writing them, a lot of them. So I probably have a couple of hundred poems just in the last 2 years.
Wow, that's quite a bit. And were you writing stories or?
Yeah, when I first took the class, it was a life story class. So we were writing stories about our lives, but a lot of those, since they were about Reiki, because I was so excited about Reiki, I made into articles, and they were published like in the Reiki News magazine and Energy magazine. Yeah. But the poetry came later. The poetry probably came a year or two after I started writing. It was just an accident. I was in class one day. The teacher was an amazing storytelling teacher. After I read my piece, he says, "That sounds kind of like a poem." And I said, "It does?" He said, "Yeah, you could make that into a poem." And I'm like, "How would I do that?" And so he helped me take that piece and make it into a poem, and then it just took off. And all of a sudden, I was writing poems every day.
Well, it sounds like you've had a lot of synchronicity with things happening. So
that, and I'm sure Reiki has a lot to do with it, because it took me about a year to figure it out. But after that year, I realized that when I was practicing Reiki, either on myself or on a client, a lot of times I would get inspiration, whole lines for poems, sometimes whole poems, and then trying to hold on to that is an interesting challenge, but I've learned to figure it out.
Well, I mean, maybe those budding poetry writers, or writers in general, will go, maybe I should tune into the energy, or take a Reiki class to try to open up and see what happens.
I think, I didn't do it for that reason, but I think there's a definite connection there, and I've seen it with people that are practicing other kinds of arts, and they're Reiki practitioners also.
Right.
They seem to be connected.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that do jewelry and do, Reiki or energy infusions into the jewelry. And it makes me think I also have a craft business, and when I make jewelry and I'm just so excited and think it's so interesting, or it's very pretty, those are usually the first ones that sell. and I notice that happens more times than not. You know, like if I just made them and I really like them, they just jump right off the shelf. So I think there is something to
And
that.
that happens with writing too. I can usually tell when I write a poem like right away. I think songwriters say that sometimes, that they know when they write a song that it's going to be a hit.
Yeah.
I kind of know when I write a poem that it's probably going to be accepted somewhere.
All right. So, you know, tuning into our intuition is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So now you're sending your poetry with photographs, and those photographs are yours. They're not, you know, a friend's or.
Almost all of them are mine from trips that we've taken over the years, because we've done a lot of traveling. There are a few that friends have sent me and they've given me their permission to use them. And then I've been putting maybe a stanza of one of my poems, sometimes more, but not always does a lot of it fit on the photo. And then been posting them on Instagram. So I've only been doing that for a month, but I'm getting really nice feedback.
Well, of course, you want to have more Instagram followers. So what's your name for your Instagram so people can look at your pictures with the poetry?
Sure, that would be great. It's mindfulpoet_.
All right. Yep, I friended you, so I've been seeing it. So I'm trying to think if I have any other questions. You, I think your poetry is very, you know, in tune, or, you know, I kind of feel it, you know, inside, for lack of better terminology. So I guess, you know, it makes me feel something. So the purpose of the video.
Good to hear.
Yeah. So the purpose of the video is just, so we're going to put this on your page, because usually you've got something almost every month that I post. So on the magazine, it's on the first page where all the writers are. It says poetry, and then you click on the find more, and it goes to the poetry page, and Carolyn is usually there 9 times out of 10. So you can find her poetry with or without pictures, depending on, you know, what's happening that month. And you can also find, and maybe you didn't know this too, the older articles from like last month and months gone by. I use issuu.com. So the older articles are historically saved there, and people can go there and look. So if they like your poetry, they can go to issuu.com, look for ROC Metaphysical, and then look, you know, for you in there and along with everybody else. So it's kind of nice to have that record. So, you know, when I have a million followers.
No, I so appreciate your support. You've been supportive from the first poem I sent you almost 2 years ago, and I really appreciate that.
Well, you know, I like to, you know, do my little bit, because, you know, same for me. My friends supported me when I first started doing this, and they looked at me like, are you crazy?
Yeah, so, some of my friends look at me that way too, but it's okay, right? Because we're on our path.
Yeah, so I'm like, why not? You know, I have nothing to lose, so go for it, you know? So I think, you know, I appreciate that and like to support people, and hope that good things will happen. So is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, just thank you, Pam. I really appreciate your support. Like I said, it's been quite a journey between Reiki and writing, and I'm very thankful for this path that I'm on.
Well, I'm glad, you know, I can share your writings, and this video will be on the July magazine, so people can learn a little more about you, and for sure follow you on Instagram if you like poetry. And I guess we'll say adios.
Okay, Pam, thank you.
All right, thanks a lot. See you later.